Hello and welcome to everyone across the nation joining today's workshop on how to monitor web test units or WTUs. This is Dawn Montgomery with the CASAS Technology Support Team, and I will be presenting today's workshop. This workshop focuses on using TOPS Pro Enterprise Online for monitoring and tracking CASAS web-based test administrations. This function is available with both basic and enhanced access. In other words, a TE license or collective agreement with CASAS is not required. This is one of 23 complementary CASAS Online Implementation Basics workshops. We highly recommend attending as many workshops possible to learn about best practices and ask questions to become confident in using the online system. Online help is available on our website from Training and Support, Etest Online Help, and TOPS Pro Enterprise Help. You will want to be sure and bookmark these as your electronic go-to resources. Electronic resources are updated periodically, so going to them will help to ensure you are receiving the most current information. Information from today's workshop comes from Etest Online Help in the Etest Online User Guide. This guide has hyperlinks throughout to help you move quickly between sections, such as Section 8.13. Let me increase the view here. 8.13 on monitoring WTUs or web-based test units. Again, you will want to be sure and bookmark electronic resources and to give you the opportunity to search keywords to pinpoint specific information when you need help. Before we get started, I want to be sure and point out where you will find access to CASAS Etest Online and TOPS Pro Enterprise Online. Notice the URLs I just pasted in the chat box. This is the, whoops, let's see, I think I'm missing a tab here, so let me go back one tab. Let me just add a tab here for the production server. And move that on over. This is in the address bar that I've highlighted. This is the main domain name address you will use when your agency is set up with an online database. This is commonly referred to as the production server. In other words, this is where live data is produced. For today's workshop, we will be using a simulation server for a fictional school called Rolling Hills Adult School. The simulation server is populated with fictional data to give you a realistic training experience. This is available to anyone wanting to experiment and explore our online system without risk of compromising your live data. You will find information on how to access the simulation server on our website from Training and Support, Etest Online Help, Getting Started, and download the simulation server document. Now let's begin, and please feel free to ask questions along the way. Last week's workshops began the transition from primarily using CASAS Etest Online to using the TE client or TOPS Pro Enterprise Online. Any user that you allow may be granted access to TE with or without coordinator or proctor certification. To access TOPS Pro Enterprise for the first time on a local computer, click the TE client or install link at top left of the browser window. A client application will install on the local computer to connect with the online server. A shortcut icon is automatically placed on the computer desktop. If you are a user who will access TE frequently, you may want to pin the shortcut to your taskbar along the bottom of your computer monitor for quick access when other applications are open on your screen. TE opens to a login screen similar to Etest's. And whenever there is a new update available, you will be prompted to install a new client on the local machine, as you see happening here on my machine. So let's just give this a moment to update. Essentially, the simulation server has generic accounts for administrator, coordinator, proctor, and teacher login so that you may experience different types of user access. Coordinators and proctors do not automatically have access to TE. Access again to TE may be granted by the agency to anyone with or without coordinator or proctor certification. Users enter the same login credentials to access either Etest or TE because there is only one database shared between the two applications. After entering login credentials, and we'll go ahead and use an administrator as our example for today. After entering user credentials, click Connect to establish connection to your online database. TE opens to an empty screen. All data and reports are displayed from accessing menus along the top left, and at top right displays the logged on user, application version, and general screen controls. All user activity is tracked and recorded in the online system, so it is important not to share login credentials. Now for review, from the reports menu, lists categories for reports that help users meet a wide variety of needs. Submenus identify the type of report. In this workshop, we are focusing on monitoring and tracking online test administrations, or WTU's, web-based test units. Two pre-formatted reports with drill-down functionality are available from the CASAS Etests category. We will first look at the Etests Administrations report. As with all pre-formatted reports, the report generator opens to display report setup screens. At the left is the report setup navigator, and along the top is the report setup toolbar. The report generator defaults open to general settings displayed at the right, where 5 sections, and I'll go ahead and collapse these so that you can easily see the 5 sections or distinguish the 5 sections. These 5 sections allow you to specify how the report will display data. Because the Rolling Hills Adult School database does not contain administrations from Etest, for demonstration, let's see, we'll go ahead and keep the default settings for date ranges, output layout parameters, session name, common filters, date ranges, and output layout parameters. Sorry about that. Now from special options, I'll scroll down here. To display the number of Etest administrations per site, click Site. And normally for count, you would keep the default set at WTU if you are generating this report specifically to track usage of WTUs across all sites. Now, because the Rolling Hills database does not contain administrations from Etest, for demonstration, we need to select non-WTU to simply simulate Etest's administrations. From the report toolbar at the top, click Generate to display the report. The report header identifies the program year, the agency ID, and the agency name. Along the left of the Etest Administration's report displays sites at Rolling Hills Adult School. At the right of sites are columns displaying number of Etest administered per month at each site within the current program year. The far right column displays number of Etest administered per site within the current program year. Along the bottom of each column displays the total number of Etest administered per month across all sites. The bottom right cell displays the total number of Etests administered for the entire agency within the current program year. Viewing reports in TE gives you the option to drill down in cells for details about data that cell represents. Cells are drillable. Cells that are drillable are outlined with a red box as seen when hovering with the mouse over the 17 Etests administered last July at the North Campus. Click the cell to drill down to data. Drilling down to data will display a list of the 17 records that cell represents. In this case, the list identifies students and tests administered at the North Campus in July of the current program year. TE gives you 3 options to extract lists of records. Click Export and select Export to save the list of records to a spreadsheet. Now, a word of caution when opening a spreadsheet with exported data saved in a CSV file type is that you may need to use a custom format to keep or retain leading zeros to keep them from being dropped when the CSV file is opened. To export data for import to an external source, such as a reporting system or registration system, click Export and select Third-Party Export. The third-party export also saves in a CSV file format. This file should not be opened after saving because opening this type of exported data will invalidate the file as importable to an external source. The third option to extract lists of records from TE is to create an ad hoc report. Click Print to set up your report. Give your report a title, such as Etest Administrations at North Campus in July 2014. Select the print size, and then select the columns. You may either select all at once. Now, available columns by default are listed alphabetical, so you may not necessarily want the columns displayed in your ad hoc report in alphabetical order. So selecting columns individually, at the same time specifying the order, will cause the data to display in the order selected. If you move up over a column and you want to reorder once you've selected your columns, you can use by highlighting the column click first or up or down in either case to reorder the list. Now, after setting up the report, you can print or preview before printing. Preview gives you additional options to save exported lists of records in other file types, such as PDF, Word, and Excel workbooks. You may also print the file as you see here. Click the red X button or box to close the Ad Hoc Report tab. To return to the Etest Administration's report, click on the reporting session date and time from the Report Viewer Navigator at left, or click anywhere along the orange bar at top of the list of records. When viewing any report in TE, you have three options to extract reports. Keep the reporting session to save a copy of the report in the Reports Manager. Click Export to save the report in other file types, again, such as PDF, Word, and Excel workbook. Or click Print to print the report without saving. Are there any questions about the Etest's Administration's report? Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Now let's look at another report to monitor and track online test administration usage. From the Reports menu, click CASAS Etests and select WTU Balance. General settings are standard for the WTU Balance Report, such as session name and output layout parameters. The Report Setup Navigator does not give you any options to refine the type of data displayed on the WTU Balance Report, such as site, class, or tests. So we will just click Generate at the top in the toolbar to view the report. The WTU Balance Report is an accounting of purchases and distribution of usage. As you see in this report, the agency ID and name is displayed in the header. Because the Rolling Hills Adult School database does not contain administrations from Etests, information displayed in this report is not typical of what you will see in your own online database. To give you a better example of this report, while explaining information displayed, we will use a snapshot from an online agency without identifying the agency itself. The first three columns, WTU ID, date purchased, and WTUs per purchase, identify the purchase record. And the total number of WTUs purchased to date in the bottom of the WTUs purchased column. The next four columns track usage by displaying the number of WTUs reserved to indicate tests in progress or suspended tests, WTUs used by tests, which are tests that were ended, scored, and recorded. WTUs used by deleted tests. Now, while we advise against deleting any historical data, you do have the option to delete test records. However, this does not delete the WTU used for administering the test. WTUs consumed gives you the percentage of how many WTUs have been consumed per number of WTUs purchased. The last column displays or is the number of WTUs remaining in your online account per purchase and per total number of WTUs purchased to date, such as a little bit above 1,800 WTUs remaining in this online account. Folks, are there any questions about the WTU or how to read the WTU Balance Report? Okay, let's go ahead and return to TE. Now, one thing to note, folks, is that the WTU Balance Report does happen to be one report that does not offer drill down functionality. As you can see, when hovering the mouse over these cells are not highlighted, so there is no drillable function available. Now, another way to monitor and track online test administration usage is from the Organization menu. Click Test Administrations. Again, because the Rolling Hills Adult School database does not contain administrations from Etest, information displayed in this list is not typical of what you will see in your own online database. The information listed, however, is the same as displayed in the WTU Balance Report. For comparison, let's split the display on our screen. At far right of the Test Administrations screen, click Pages. From the drop-down menu, here we go. From the Pages drop-down menu, click New Horizontal Page Group. A new page opens directly below. Click and drag the Test Administrations tab to the page below. Unpin the navigator in the top page. And let's move this down. And now you can notice that both pages essentially display the same information, except the WTU Balance Report gives totals, whereas the Etest Administrations list does not. And information contained on each page may be saved, exported, or printed as demonstrated for all reports and lists of records in TE. Are there any questions about the Test Administrations list? Okay, folks, one last example is to demonstrate why you would not want to use CASAS Etest Online to monitor and track WTUs. From the CASAS Etest Online main domain web address, coordinators and proctors sign in to access the management console. Enter user credentials and click Login. From the Application Management, click Test Results. By default, the test results list displays records of all tests administered in the current program year in descending order. You may remove the current program year filter and display test results across program years. However, either way, information displayed in the list of records does not only includes not only results from Etest administrations, but also displays results from paper-based tests. So the list of results, it is not distinguishable or you don't have the ability to distinguish between, here, let's go ahead and backdate this to the current program year, or start of the current program year. Even the advanced filter does not give you the ability to distinguish between Etest administrations and paper-based tests or non-WTUs. Likewise, the test results list by default does not list appraisal results. So for essentially for accurate tracking and monitoring of WTUs, you will want to use TE. Now let's close Etest and return to TE. From the test results screen at far right, click the back link. At far right from the application management screen, click the logout link. To completely disconnect from the server, click the web browser back arrow. The quickest way to order WTUs is through the CASAS website online ordering system. At top right from any page on the CASAS website, click Order. Click Order Etests and complete the online ordering process. Orders placed online are generally processed within 1 to 2 business days. Now, please note that you must be logged in to add products to your cart. Folks, are there any questions about monitoring, tracking, and ordering WTUs before we wrap it up? All right, I'll take that as a no. And if you are finished working in TE, at far right, click Pages. From the drop-down menu, click Close with all pages. Again, from the pages, close all pages. From the TE icon at top left, lock your screen if you plan to return and continue working. Otherwise, disconnect from the server and then exit the application. Each workshop in a set of CASAS Online Implementation Basics builds on the last in a logical progression for helping you to get up and running with the online system. If you miss a workshop, we posted a playlist from past recordings so that you may review a previously attended workshop or preview upcoming workshops. You may access them from Training and Support, Etest Online Help, and CASAS Online Implementation Basics, and access them and others from our social media newsroom on the CASAS YouTube channel. Please note the information I pasted in the chat box about our technology support team. The support team is available to provide any technical assistance you may need to ensure successful implementation. This email address alerts a support team that includes several members. Communicating to the larger group will help us to ensure you receive a timely response. Team members are available 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, Monday through Friday. We look forward to you joining us for the next workshop on adding students to your online database. Thank you for your time, and this concludes the workshop on how to monitor WTUs.